Now, just to give you a heads up on how we came up with this training, every single time Tammy or Ask or we're planning for a training, we're always trying to compile our life experiences from the beginning, challenges and where we're going and what we're learning. And Michael Clapier, as a matter of fact, sent us the segment that Eric Worre talked about in reference to personal growth. And the reason why often I like to listen to things like this is I have my own experience. We have our own experiences. And we've done well. I believe we have. But there's always space for growth and to learn. And when you listen to someone like Eric, which I certainly value, where many of you do, I'm assuming, it's nice to compare notes. And as he was talking and sharing in his audio recording, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. In fact, I can point out who these people are in the team. In fact, I remember what I did to get to this point. And this is how we compile this training that you're going to see here before you, which in personal development. Because often people think we're lucky. You can't, I mean, there might be some moments where you happen to strike a good person, and it's like roll a dice or a deck of cards, right? You trade your cards, and there's 4 aces in a deck of cards, am I right? You could find your 4 aces within the first 10 cards, or the last cards. You just don't know. So sometimes, yes. But there's other things that happens, because I've seen great people coming in and leaving. And there's some things that we want to share with you so you understand, because folks, there is gold nuggets all across this organization here, all of you. Some of you have incredible skills, incredible talent, but there's something that's stopping you. And we just want to kind of shed some light. And we want you to, in this area, and we want you to keep an open mind. Because it's very possible that we're going to share something with you that may completely contradict all your beliefs. But always remember, the results you're having now, is that what you want? If not, maybe there's something that you're consistently repeating that keeps you exactly where you are. Does that make sense? So keep an open mind as we're sharing this with you. We want you to succeed more than you'll ever know. And we need to go through the basics. And that's why I'm endorsing what corporate is doing. Because they are right in line with our experiences, what we have done to be where we are. And not only that, but we're able to duplicate a crown. That is not easy. If you only knew behind the curtain what had to happen for this to occur. And triples and doubles and diamonds and all the way down to prime level 1. Just before we start, I need you to understand the prime level 1 is key. This is what you need to focus on. Babies cry for the attention. Adults will die for it. They go to war because of it. I'm very serious. You got to focus on the recognition, and the prime level 1 is the first stage of recognition. For me, prime 1 is more important than the crown. Because if you can produce tens of thousands of prime 1, what happens? You got crown popping like popcorns. This is the reality. Because everybody is getting something and getting paid. Do you want to add something before we...
So go to page 1. And our training will be, this will be your reference for the training. And please feel free to add things. As things come up in your mind, jot it down. It's critical. Because often things go in and it goes out really quick. Would you agree? Because something else comes in, right? So jot things down as it comes. We may say a few things that just totally connect to you. So jot, please. Be interactive with this training, because it's going to help you tremendously to grow. And like Chris said, there's so many experiences that we've had over the years, and we're by far where we want to be in our career in network marketing. Mm-hmm. And often people look at us and go, oh my gosh, here's where you are. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Because if we're not producing crown diamonds, we're not, you know what I mean? We haven't arrived. Because it's not about you arriving, it's about what are you going to do for people? How are you going to help people get to their success levels? Would you agree? Network marketing is about service. To many leads to greatness.
And Tammy, there's something I'd like to mention before we begin. I want to first of all, really, because it's the only opportunity we have to share here, we want to thank corporate for putting this together, for listening, and being open to learn, and also interdependency, right? I don't know if you read the book with Stephen Covey. There's independent, there's like dependent, independent, interdependency. Interdependency is you can do everything independently, but you're also aware that you do better with others. That's called interdependent, right? And this is what I really see corporate. They're independent, they know what to do, but they understand that if they partner with the field, work together, we can go further. I really believe that we are going to hit billions in sales. Remember, 50 cents or 50% of what the company earns is paid in a form of commission to the consumers, people like you and I. So I wanted to recognize corporate for putting this event together. Please, let's give them a strong thank you. Yeah. Very important. The second thing is, I really want to thank Mike and Lynn. We've been discussing in the past few days, and Mike, I love your technology. I love the screen. I can actually see what's happening. I love that. And this is what it is. And I'm really, really happy that we're all together putting this together. This is how it is supposed to be. I want to thank Mike and Lynn for all of this, right?
Yeah, because we want to get to the next level in Canada. It's important that everybody comes together and learn from each other and empower each other to get to the next level. Okay, because we can learn from brand new people who come into this business, because they also have skills coming into
There's another
the industry
aspect, on a third aspect, is you can have a great room with great training, but it doesn't mean much if you're not here. So I want to thank you for taking the time, investing your time in being here and believing in us. I know we can help you, but it's a partnership, and I want you to give you a good hand for being here. Just recognize, because this is very, very important. So now as we get into our training, the question is, what is required for long-term success in my Max business? Okay, so that's what we want to talk about.
Have you ever asked yourself that question? Anybody taking the time to ask themselves that question? This is something you should be asking yourself on a regular basis. The one thing that Chris and I do is at the end of every month, we evaluate where we are, and so we can get to the next level. So it's what we can do to help other people get there. So this is a critical question that you need to be asking yourself. Write it down at the end of every month. Ask yourself these questions. It's going to help you get to the next level of your business. So, is it the products? How many people would agree that it's the products? Okay.
Well, the reality is, no. You could have the best products in the world, folks, and I really, really believe we do. But when we assess our life and look at the different teams, some having wonderful results and some maybe not having the same results, they're having the same products, but why are they not having results? So understand that it is important, but it's not the reason. The second question.
Is it the compensation plan? How many would agree it's the compensation plan?
The money, the compensation plan. What if I tell you, no, it is not about the compensation plan. Is it important? Yes. But it is not about the comp plan. What about the duplicatable system? Having a great system that everybody does.
It's like that cookie cutter. It works every time if everybody can duplicate it, like we do with the Prime bonuses. Would you agree that this is it?
Well, the answer is no. I know. Where's he going with this?
So you guys are pretty shocked right now, right? Are you shocked?
It's not about the comp plan. It's not about, well, okay, what about the incentives?
Oh my gosh, we had the best event on the cruise. Would you agree? I think that was the highlight. We've been in Max for 12 years. We've watched Max roll out every single event. We've traveled around the globe with Max. I have to say that one was pretty amazing. Would you agree that it's the incentives that would drive people?
Well, you're catching on.
You're getting good.
You're catching on. Okay? It is important, but it is not. Because the key is, once we had the incentive, we had a huge curve of growth in Canada. And the moment the incentive was over, woo, went back.
Interesting, eh?
So I'm talking about long-term residual, long-term business. This is what we have created. And we want this for you. And this is why I'm asking you to keep an open mind. So what about the recognition? I mean,
have you seen what they're doing now for recognition? Has anybody gone through this? This is pretty impactful because each stage of recognition, it encourages people to want to get to the next level because of everything that leads up to these vacations. Because you know, as a diamond, you all know you get a free trip every year, right? And we go to really amazing places. Anybody like to go to Sun City in South Africa? Pretty impressive. We've been all over the world with the company with these incentives. They've added so much more. You know, from the beginning, you got your luggage tags, you have luggage, you got, you know, a small piece, a hand carry. Next thing you know, you get all this luggage and getting you ready and prepared for that next vacation. How many people work a job and you don't get that? Do you get, let me rephrase this. How many people work for a job and their companies take them on vacations? Look around, you guys. Max has it. And they keep getting better. Is that what it is? No.
So, what is it then? How do you get success? And you see, the fact is, after 20 years of doing this full time, you start recognizing patterns. I'm not a fast learner, but I do learn eventually. And the fact here is, because for me, I always thought that if you share the opportunity and the income drives vision, and vision will stimulate. It's part of the process. So the answer is you. Say what? Me?
If I was new in this business, I'd be like shivering. Because I remember when I was new and I was the one hiding in the back, please don't recognize me, because I was so afraid. And personal development has really transformed so many things. And that's why we want to talk about personal development, because it is you. You are the answer. You are the machine. You are the one that's going to drive people to come and look at this. How many people have had people that said no to them? So have we. And you know what? Even to this day, not as much, because we've worked on ourselves we've been in the network marketing profession professionally for 20 years for him, over 18 for me. And I can tell you, we've come a long way. I remember him when he was new. We kind of knew each other at the beginning when we were friends. So it's interesting to see people evolve in network marketing. I never had this skill training in school. Did you? No. But it's interesting that when we came into network marketing, all of a sudden everything has transformed. Our kids look at us today a different way. And we actually empower our children today. We empower our 6 grandchildren today. I know the products are pretty good, eh? We empower our grandchildren today because of who we've been working on for 20 years. You are the influence. You are the influencers that are going to drive your business to the next level.
So it is you. You are the influencer. But what you need to understand is the influencer are the machine that drives it all. If you got a great comp plan, great products, great systems or system, great incentives, and it's a beautiful package with someone who is what we call an influencer, that is the key. See, many of you have worked hard at Max daily. In some cases, for years. Why is it that you can't pass that pin level? Could be that you are a great servant, but who are you serving? Who are the people you're spending all your time with? And this is usually where the problems really starts. Sometimes, we're uncomfortable prospecting. I understand that getting out of the comfort zone, prospecting, talking to new people, once we have a team, it's a lot easier to work with an existing team of 5 to 10 people or more. Yeah. It's a lot easier than to go out there and deal with the world that is not educated on the industry, that will come across a little negative, sometimes make you feel a little bit bad about it, right? You want to stay where it's warm, right? And usually what happens is we spend all our time there, but they're not folks, we love them, but they're not committed like you maybe. They're not the influencers. So you need to find others. Can we convert? Yeah, absolutely, we'll talk about that. But you have to work with the people that are ready. That is key. I'll never forget when they used to call me the Salvation Army guy.
I remember that.
When I started network marketing. I would help the company. I would help my uplines. I will help my downlines. I will help the sidelines. And I still do. But now I have learned. There's an expression they say, knock, the door shall open. I don't want to turn this to a religion. The point here is because I grew up thinking, it's always here. So the fact here is I respond to people who call, to people who knock. Doesn't matter what team you're part of. I never ask you what team you're part of. You will never hear that from me. Why? Because I don't want you to feel that if you're not part of my team, I'm not going to work with you. Never. But what I found is a lot of people don't call. You know why? They think I'm too busy. I'm telling you, how many times, actually, Christine, you were with us for the past 2 days. How many times has my phone rang? None. Phone doesn't ring. Now, one is we have a lot of influencers. Yeah. Okay. They know what they're doing. They don't need me to help. But the fact is, I know a lot of you need help. And we have great assistance. It is called voicemail. If I happen to be unavailable, you'll hit my voicemail. You will always get a phone call.
Or a WhatsApp message, a quick text.
Yeah. WhatsApp, text, Facebook, whatever works for you. We're connected. It's the funnel. Eventually, it gets on my phone. Yeah. Right? So the fact here is that, I'm not saying that all do this at the same time, because I may go a little crazy.
It never does.
But the fact is, that's the reason why we have conference calls on Monday. That's why we have webinars on Thursdays. I know Mike is doing his calls also on Monday. He's also doing his webinars throughout the week. Yeah. Plug into these events. plug into these calls, plug into these webinars. One of the greatest thing in Canada, especially, I grew up, thank God now we're living in Florida during the winter, but I grew up here. I know exactly what this is, how winter works, and it's sometimes not easy to bring an audience to a hotel on a Saturday, especially if it's going to be freezing rain or a meeting in the evening, or you're tired. But a webinar is an easy avenue to plug into and to get people across the nation or around the world to plug in. So we'll get into those examples, but the secret sauce for long-term destiny is to surround yourself with influencers, folks. And we want to help you identify those influencers, because okay, well, how do I find them? So it's part of the process. So the fact here that we want to share is, and let me know, Tammy, when you need to go through this here. Should you have all of these in place? We're talking about the product, the compensation plan, the system, the incentive, the recognition. Absolutely. You need all of that in place. But it is not because of the products that you're going to be successful.
If I can make an example of that,
David,
because
right?
there's been incredible results that so many people have in this room.
Tammy, I wanted to use this example when we were in Edmonton.
I have something that I want to share first.
Well,
you can share it. I want to share this because it's important. And we're actually talking about it in our
That's how we work, seriously. I just want to give you a kind of reality of our life.
We love
Just
each other
teasing you.
every day.
Yeah, of course.
So what I want to share with, he's not in my head.
No,
he's not in my head, right, ladies?
I really do. I'm just a pain in the behind.
If somebody would have came up to me.
That's recorded, right?
When Max was being launched, if somebody would have come up to me and said, oh my God, we got this great product, you're going to feel amazing. For me, it's like, I need money. I take great products. I'm healthy. I work out every day. You wouldn't get me into this business. So you need to think about that when you connect with people. Influencers, go get influencers. Influencers get it all. Very important. Now, if I backtrack 20 years ago, 18 years ago, product! I'd never been in the industry before, right? So understand this when you're doing your business. What do you want to attract into your business?
On this note, Tammy, and because it's really fresh in my mind, is we are all consumers.
Yeah.
We are born and raised consumers. Society trains us that way. So when you start a business, you're not used to being in business. So what's your first instinct? You think like a consumer. Are the products good? Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman from Edmonton. David, where are you, David? You're right there. We did a tour in Edmonton, right? In fact, Karen, we met, was it in Saskatchewan? Kathy?
Yeah.
Yes, we met, which,
So
was it
I don't
Edmonton?
think
Was it in
even
Saskatchewan?
Kathy knows. But when we got we got an Uber.
Well, yeah, let me share
Going
the story.
back. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
So what happened, right? She takes over, right? So what happened is we decided to, okay, now we're going to take Uber. It was the last day, and it was at 4 a.m., something like that, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m. And I started to talk to Dave. And the reason is Uber people are very entrepreneurial, generally. They're self-employed, right? So I find that it's a really good avenue, and I know many of you, I know Dr. John, you've sponsored, and Patty, and recruited a lot of people, and many of you have. And we started sharing, and as I was talking to David, I realized that he was a guy who was very health conscious. I'm not going to talk about the opportunity, I'm not going to talk about the business, I focus on the need. And I want you to be aware of this, that as an influencer, it doesn't mean you don't talk about product. So for David, it was important. So we talked for about 20 minutes, and then from there, I know Tammy, we introduced you, and then Tammy took over, and then from there you became a customer for 2 weeks, okay?
Yeah.
And after that, I just find out that you came in with 2 momentum packs.
Yeah. But here's the thing. At the beginning, it might have been the product that caught his attention because he's very health conscious. But then as we mentor, there you go. Underlying, he just told you, it's the network marketing. He has no freedom. What Uber's just for fun for him. As you get to know people, you learn what, and he has a career that it took you, 3 weeks to find somebody to cover you for a day? And he said to me, Tammy, I need to get out of this. I have no life. So understand there's always an underline of suffering. Would you agree?
Something
People are
really
silently
important.
suffering every day. And often it's not the product that's going to make the difference. It's reducing the stress in their lives. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
I know that's why we are where we are today, because we were so
an
sick and
important
tired.
point,
of
I don't
being
want to
sick and
forget
tired.
this one, it's really important, is the reason why he knew is, I did mention, often we've done training and it says plant the seed that is a business. And we did plant the seed that there was a business behind that. And I think we even mentioned the word network marketing, right? So, that's right. So you asked a question, that's right, I remember now. So what happened is, as an influencer, do you understand? You got to be able to feel the temperature of the person, listen, and fulfill the need, and go with it. But don't just focus on the product and assuming they won't be interested in the opportunity, because in your mind, it's all about how great the product is. And that's what we often do. And that's the reason why you could be 5 years at this and you won't pass a certain level. It's because of these kind of things, right?
And it implies in every part of your careers. You're probably thinking right now, whatever you're doing for a living, how can this apply for you, right? Because influencing and attracting, whether you're a salesperson, you understand? If you're taking care of children in a Galerie daycare, same thing, You're buying into the influencer, the woman or man who owns the daycare that is going to be taking care of your child. You're not just going to drop your kid anywhere, right? So it applies in every area. So think about this, is to become that influencer. People are buying you. They're not buying the product. They're buying you, your passion, your beliefs. They're buying you. And when you get that, this is going to be so much easier for you. It took us years to figure this out. We're giving it to you. How many are new?
Raise your hand. Be
Coming
proud
to
of
an
it. Be
event for
proud
the
of it.
first time.
Wonderful.
This is awesome.
Good for you.
This is awesome. Because now you're not going to go through all the struggle that we went through to figure this out.
And by the way, struggles are okay.
Help you grow, yeah.
I mean, the reason we had to evolve is we had to overcome the struggles. So the question earlier is it important to have all of these in place? Yes, it is. So the point I wanted to share with you, it's not that the product is not important. It's not about the product. It's not about the opportunity. It's not about the duplicatable system. It's about the person who's engaged and they're driven and they're out there and they're committed. And we'll talk about some of the characteristics of influencers in a minute. But once you have someone like that, that is involved in what the company offers and Max has every aspect in flying colors, this is what will actually drive your business. So these will be, this will buy you time to get the influencers. And we'll talk about momentum in a moment here. But you need time to find those people. And these products, and in fact the slides we'll talk about as we move forward. So what are the 5 characteristics of an influencer? And I know, Jasmine, you always
So you
correct
have it
my
on
English.
your sheet, the 5
Please do feel
characters.
free to correct me and just let me know whatever the mistakes are. So far, has there been some mistakes? Ah, cool.
Well, I reviewed
Cool.
it, but let
Okay.
me know if I made the review mistakes.
So let's talk about the 5 characteristic trait of an influencer. to help you kind of recognize them. Maybe you have some of those traits. Well, as a matter of fact, we're going to list them up. But you know what? Why don't we start? I love that. Okay, so let's raise your hand. So you said a good listener. Anybody else?
Passionate.
Passionate. Janet?
A person who has the best interest in that person.
They'll have the best interest in that person.
Professional.
Professional.
Being consistent.
Being consistent. Vision. I think he came. Go ahead.
Wants to help people.
Wants to help people. It's good because then you'll see the list. That's really good.
It's already there, they have it.
No, but it's not listed yet, right?
He doesn't know it's there.
Oh! Duh! Okay. Anybody else?
There you go.
Keep it down.
I just told you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Tenacity.
Tenacity.
Be open to learning and unlearning.
Be open to learn and unlearn.
Very
Love that
important.
one. Very good. Yes.
To be able to identify the special gifts that every person may meet.
To be able to identify special gift in every person. I can relate to that. Dead on. Yes, Olga.
Being sincere.
Being sincere. Super important. Is there anybody else? Janet? Being kind. Determination. Flexibility.
I'll say goals oriented.
Goals oriented.
Authentic.
Authentic. I'm practicing my pronunciation in English too. Yes, go ahead.
Talking to people from where they are.
Talking to people from where they are. In other words, so they can relate. Talking to, exactly. Yes?
Honor people.
Honor people. Huge.
Brinka.
Yes, Philippa.
Build relationship.
Build a relationship.
Brinka.
I heard it earlier. Hungry.
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 Gotta be hungry.
Gotta love Les Brown.
Dedication. Okay, beautiful. So the fact here is the first one is they are independent. They do not need you to tell them what to do. They got it. Now, they may need to be trained on a compensation plan, but you know what? You show them one time. I know I can think of all the people I've met in my, you show them one time, boom, they're gone. They know what to do.
As we're doing this, write down the names of the people that you've connected with as a prospect, or even somebody in your organization that you can start jotting names. You need to start dumping this and getting this out so you know where you are in your business and who you need to get back to. Because did anybody think of who they need to get back to after you saw that?
I
people
want
just
to
got
use
it?
an example.
Okay.
Who sponsored Lisa Bai?
Yes.
Lindsay sponsored Lisa Bai. Now, how did you meet her?
At the pool in Mexico.
She was in a vacation in Mexico at a pool, and she met this lady who happens to be Canadian living in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Right?
And the kids were playing together. They introduced you. The boys were playing together.
Okay. So what happened
Use
is
kids.
Lindsay met her. They shared. I don't know what was exchanged. Very limited. But see, she's independent. She got it.
Yeah.
And then what happened, she got involved. She enrolled herself. And she ended up sponsoring in a space of how many a month? Like 100 people? It was a lot.
There was about 120.
Yeah, there was like, you know.
Customers.
And the fact is, again, what happened? Where she met someone who was independent. She got it. And there are people like that in the world, folks.
And
There's a
she's
lot.
hungry. Oh my gosh.
You don't
That's
have-
why we flew to the western part of Canada really, really quick. I don't know if you guys saw the tour, but it was just before Christmas. And that's time to work on your family and do all this stuff. But she was so hungry, we needed to be there. Janet made it happen. Janet came with us, Janet Moriyama. And I know that Lindsay went before us. So when you have hungry people, you need to be there for your hungry people.
But it's amazing, you know, Jasmine introduced Bernadette. Bernadette introduced Janet. Janet introduced Lindsay. Lindsay introduced Lisa Bai. And this is what happens, folks. This is the reality of this business. And when Tammy and I, someone knocked. And he suggested some ideas to go in Central Canada. We were on a cruise when we talked about it. And that's what we decided. And the moment we came back, boom, we committed. We took our financial resources and we booked our hotel and we flew there. And we did intensive meetings for like a week. That's how it works. And it grew. And out of that, Carmen flew. Kathy, I'm sorry, I keep calling Carmen. Kathy came from, where's Kathy? Oh, you're there. Okay. And you're in Saskatchewan, right? Right. And she was driving us, and you drove us all the way up to Calgary. That's correct. And that's when we started chatting and sharing, and she says, I think I'm going to commit and come to Toronto to come and see this event. See what's happening? This is what we call influencers. They make decisions, they act, they move. So the problem also is, number two, is they are problem solvers.
Yes.
See, what happens is they'll spend 5% of the time on the problem and 95% of their time on the solution. And that's a trait. And when Eric was talking about this in his recording, I said, geez, that's so accurate.
Yeah.
I know, I can testify to that 1,000 times. When you focus on the problem, you become part of the problem. It's okay to identify. You don't want to put your head in the sand. You want to identify that there's a problem. Now what?
Yeah.
And often when there's a problem, and I remember speaking to Joe Wojtek, this is how I think the relationship started 10 years ago when he came into Max. He says, I never forgot this comment. I forgot where we were in the world. And when I bring him a problem, I always match a solution. But I got a solution. And he came back and says, you know what I like when you bring me a problem is you have a solution. And this is key. And I'm sharing this with you because in business you will come across challenges and problems. Trust me, problems are here to stay. Is there problems in our governments? Oh my God, we could go on. It's not easy. And then you try to solve an issue and there's like 20,000 people that are upset at you because you did something. And then you fix this, and now you have half the country that's upset at you because you did something. Right? You can never please everybody. You can never be perfect. But you do what your heart feels right. And I'm telling you, your heart generally is a good compass. Don't just go with this. You got to have a balance between the two. So, problem solvers, number 3.
And circle it if you're a problem solver. Recognize your characteristic traits.
They're consistent.
They are consistent. Who said consistent in the room?
Someone said
Somebody
consistent
said
in this group
consistent.
here.
It was Bernadette,
Yeah.
I think.
They are consistent. They are consistently doing their meetings. They are consistently doing their webinars. They are consistently doing the same presentation. They don't change every flavor of the month. It stays consistent. Is there space for improvement? I assure you there is. Yes. But the key is consistency. I remember when I traveled the world. I was in the Philippines, Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Canada. And I say, guys, and I'll never forget a comment made by Bill Dietrich about 10 years ago. You guys remember Bill? Okay. He says, you know, Chris, the problem is the presentation changes all the time. It's never the same in this city, in that city, that city, and this city. And he was right. He was right. That hit me really hard. He doesn't know. It's recorded, so maybe he'll see it one day and he'll call me back.
Tell him to watch it.
Okay? But the fact is, he was right. And I've listened to other leaders that we're talking the millionaires, the big times in our industry, right? And they talk about consistency. Again, that is a trait of influencers. Consistency. They are consistent. They create action. The action creators. You know, they get in and they step in a room and people are more productive. For many reasons. I can't list all the different things, but the team is more productive. Even when they are not around and miles and thousands of miles away from where they are, they will still produce. Why? Because they stay connected. They stay connected Tammy and I have a group of influencers around the world, which I'm sure Mike and Lynn has the exact same. We have our influencers around the world and in the country, and we're constantly in touch with them all the time. And it's always a communication. I can hear the pulse. When there's a problem, we get to it and we work together. Even if I'm in Florida or in Toronto, regardless of where I am, we got this wonderful tool called either Skype or WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever. And we exchange. I need help, I call corporate. I say, Joe, I need a finance guy, I need you, because we need to deal with this currency right now. Because the US dollar went up like a rocket ship. That was back in 2016, and it messed everything up, including our Canadian dollar and everything else. How do we solve that? Canada, we're fortunate. Because we can have an American account, an American credit card, and we can get paid in US and put in our accounts. That's one of the only country that Max deals with that can do that. We are so lucky. And if you don't have a credit card, you can have the Max card and use your product just by the commission you earn. It's beautiful what we have here. But other countries, there's a conversion rate going on. And the company has to adjust. So we found some things to work on. We call a multiplication factor to solve the problem. And then instead of Ghana going down flat, they went up and skyrocketed because we found a solution. It's called problem solvers. I didn't have the solution. But when we put everybody on the table together, we're able to come up with some amazing techniques and things that we never thought about, because this finance guy was talking to this person and that person making the decision, and we're in the field doing with, and when you put all that together, we're able to come up with great solutions. And this is how Ghana came to be. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because often you look at Ghana and say, wow, wow, wow. Folks, there were a moment where it could have been flatline. It could have been death. But we worked together to solve. And I'm sharing this with you so I can share with you the reality of life. So you don't just see that, oh, they're lucky. There's a process. And you got to love people. That was mentioned earlier. Very, very important.
Now, you're going to go through all of this in your organization. You'll notice as you start building teams, you're going to recognize a lot of this that we're sharing with you. And ask, when somebody brings you a problem, ask them to bring a solution. Bring some ideas. You know, if you're sitting with a group, how do you expand a market? I mean, we do this all the time. We sit with groups and let's put everything on the table and what we can do as a unit to get this market going, and work that with your organization. I mean, look in the room. Canada, in my opinion, hasn't even started yet. I don't know about you, but look around the room.
If you only knew the amount of influencers we got in this country.
33 million people in Canada?
I think it's 30.
30?
Yeah. Anyway, it's in the area. Yeah.
Around 33 million people. Look around the room. When it comes to influencers, do you think we have some room to grow here? Do you think that some of the Canadian that are in the room here are also connected to the international market and they can do it from here? We got lots of work to do here.
So number 5 is vision. Big vision for themselves and for others, for their team. So these are the 5 characteristics of an influencer. I'm sure there's many, many more. So the 2 questions is, how many of those characteristics do you possess?
Write these questions down, because you don't want to just learn this here and go away and not think about this again. You need to bring this with you. These are the things that we do. We're constantly evaluating our organization and where we are at on where we want to go.
So we're
Constantly working on that.
We're telling you what you need to know to become an influencer. Now it's up to you, because this is the secret potion. That question, How many of those characteristics do you possess? Ask yourself that question. Write it down. Because you need to know. And by the way, this video is recorded, so you'll be able to listen to it if you miss something. Okay? We'll record Mike and what's going on today also. And so the fact, and here's a second question. I know Mike does that a lot. Mike LeBurn, that's what he does. How many of your team members possess those characteristics?
Interesting.
This is very important. Very, very important. Okay? So one is, how many of those characters do you possess? And once you identify that, now you know what to do. Now you know what to work on. Right? So, and then in your team, and you may have people in your team that have more of those characteristics than you do. It just kind of brought me to something I want to talk about because I see this all over the world, everywhere I go, and it's not easy to work with. Sometimes when we see someone in our business that tend to do faster, better, more, sometimes we feel belittled by that, especially when it becomes public. I'm telling you, folks, I remember when we hit Diamond and Max, and we were 4 years, many of you, we were 4 years as Diamonds. It was hard. It was really hard. And then we have our downline. Some were getting double diamonds. Some were getting triple diamonds. Right? And what happens is it puts you, it's pressure. But folks, remember one thing. Do you remember in school that there's always a student that's better than you? It's okay.
Duck. Let them go.
Let them go. Duck.
Let them grow.
They are in your downline. It will serve you well. Okay? So don't get emotionally wrapped up on these kind of things. I know, folks, it's really, really important. So the fact here is I just want to kind of mention that as a parenthesis, as we're sharing, is there are folks that just have great skills. Some people, they sit in front of a piano and poof, they just play. They never took notes. They just know it. They can sing this, right? I can't sing for nothing. I remember my father sings, and he wanted me to sing as a child. I remember he's quiet. I didn't want to sing. I hated singing, right? I was forced into it because my friend, well, I sing, you should sing, right? So the fact here is just kind of embrace the people in your organization. Love them where they are. Some are going to do more, some are going to do less. Love them where they are.
And some are going to do it later. Have you ever had that in your organization?
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden, like a year goes by, and they're almost like missing in action, right? And then all of a sudden, they see a flyer, they come out to an event, somebody says something, and they're on fire. It happens. The timing has to work for your organization, for the people in your organization. So always make people feel special because they are special. Mm-hmm. The timing has to work for them. But don't wait. We never wait. We never wait. We're always on our game. We're always out there looking for the influencers to drive this business.
So I remember, and I write this comment here. It says that those two questions may come a bit as a shocker. Sometimes it's when we look at ourselves, I don't know if I want to bother, right? I get it. But see, at least now you know what to do. Right? I know that a lot of us want to be here, we want to make that, but to get there, we have to learn. We have to go through the process because you can't attract what you are not. Does that make sense? Okay? So,
but don't let that stop you from trying. I just want to let you know because I personally have leveraged off the influencers to help me bring influencers into the business. So don't feel that if you don't feel like you're not that influencer yet, don't let that stop you. Leverage. And yeah, I guess I went ahead because I was thinking about it in the moment.
You're dead on, Tammy.
But the
key is to become an influencer. Yeah. That is the key. And folks, take an inventory of the people in your organization and yourself that are willing to become an influencer.
Can you take the time to do that this weekend? Okay, so some of you are brand new and you don't have an organization yet, but it gives you a good foundation as your team starts to develop what you're looking for. Okay, and if those of you who already have an organization, I would even call people back that didn't show up here and try and get an appointment with them. Share them with what's going on, the momentum that's kicking in, and see if they want to drive this with you. If
So
they know
number
you're
two-
serious, a lot of time people want to be serious too.
So number 2 is do three-way calls with influencer uplines.
Yes.
You will learn a lot. That's what I did when I started. I remember saying, God, I would never be able to do what he just did. I remember those days. And over time, you become that person if you repeat it often enough. But you need to listen, need to learn. So these are my tips. Do an inventory in your organization, and 2, do some three-way calls with influencer uplines. I'm telling you, it will make a huge difference in your own personal learning curve and in the growth of your organization. So, what do you look for to create an influencer? What do you look for? Okay, and that's the fact is, we shared with you what it is that you need to look for. And what's also very important as a team leader is you need to create the environment. Did I say that correctly? Pronunciation? Environment? Took me years
It's French
to say
kicks
correctly.
in sometimes.
It's the French, put H's where they're not supposed to be, and okay. So what happens is you need to create the environment within your organization so the people feel safe and they feel that they are on the right track. Do you understand? Very, very important. And we'll talk a little bit about mentorship in a minute here, okay? And the key to all of this is you need to become an influencer factory. But it starts with you. Does that make sense, everybody? See, we can talk all about the product science and everything. We can study the comp plan till you're blue in the face, and you'll know it all. But if you're not doing these activities of finding influencer in the field, you'll know it all, but you'll be pocketitis disease. Right? You'll work hard, but you won't be making any money. And next thing you know, oh, I don't believe in that. Folks, at the end of the day, understand that network marketing, it's a legitimate business. Why do I know? Well, because I've been paying my taxes for 20 years. I didn't get any issues. Did I get audited once in a while? Yeah, it happens. It's the way it is in this country, right? How did you get from here and you get all this money, and what happened? Do you owe us GST at the time? Right? As a matter of fact, it's in 2010, very quickly, I find out that if you are contributing to the economy in Canada by an American company, you are contributing to your economy. I'm contributing to the Canadian economy. So I'm entitled to all the HST credit. So what happened is this year, I'm being transparent, I got a check for $7,000 of HST accumulated. Government acknowledged that. And I owed them, it was $11,000, and I owed them $7,000, right? For whatever things they said. And I never got anything, no feedback. I said, what's going on? Are they going to charge me interest and all this stuff? Then I call, eventually when you're able to connect with them, one of them, right? Then you spoke to someone, it says, oh, no, everything is clear, your account is at zero. How is that possible? Well, we owed you that, and that's what you owed us. We made a difference, and he cut me a check for $4,000. And I said, wow! The Canadian government is running just like a real business now? That's the easy way. She started laughing just like you did, right? And so, you know what? The fact here is this is a legitimate business. It's recognized. And it's all these wonderful deductions that you can take advantage of in our country. So in moving forward, we just want to finish up with some points talking about momentum. See, what is momentum? Well, everybody's saying yes to to your opportunity. People are engaging. It's exciting. We can relate to that, right? Okay, that's an example of momentum. But here's the truth about momentum. Momentum usually lasts 18 months. Generally. I look at my 20-some years, 20 years full-time, there was a few more years prior than that, and I look at my business, and it's again accurate. For about a year and a half, we get momentum. Then problems come up.
Yeah.
Issue happens. It's called life, right? And it's challenging times, right? You get some leaders that are leaving for whatever reason, right? And you have those that some are, there's just not many people at the events. We can all relate to that, right? So that will happen 100% of the time. And you need
And
to be...
the truth is, it's like that in traditional business too. Anybody
That's
own a
correct.
traditional business? Because I came from traditional business before I got involved in network marketing. And would you agree that it goes like this? Why is it people come into network marketing and think it goes like this, or it doesn't go at all? Does anybody sell you on that? Well, you gotta be real with people. It's important to be real with people and let them know how this works. Because if you set the wrong expectations to people, you will lose credibility and trust. And our organization foundation is trust. Integrity and trust. If you have that in place, you're going to go through momentum curves like this, but I'm telling you, those momentum curves are not going to go like this. They're going to go. We
Right.
know, because this is what happens. How many people want it like this? You want it like this?
Well, I can be honest with you. My life has been...
No, but as you build the
That's how it's
business
been.
and you learn how this grows,
That's
then-
life.
yeah, because life gets in the way too. But you'll learn that as you start building income in this business. I know, because we've done it I've been doing it for 18 years, okay? And you have to understand that it goes like this. And, if you guys stay in the problems, would you agree it goes like this? And if you start feeding this to your team that there's a problem, okay?
So we had about 10 minutes.
So it's,
5 minutes ago. Okay. So what happens here?
I'm doing the visual.
So there is a lesson to learn in our business, folks. And this is very important. I touched on it earlier, is that you can only make what you are. If you want to attract these kind of folks, the CEOs and influencers, and you got to grow into it. It's really important. Very, very important. The truth about growing influencers is that it's very difficult to grow more than 10% a year.
Yeah.
So the fact is, when we mention we need time to get the influencers, is very accurate. You need time. And how do you get someone to build into it? To build their belief, their trust? It's the event, the recognition, the compensation plan incentives, the product stories, all of these things. Oh yeah, and then you know what's happening is you're adding these little credibility in that human credibility bank, and you're making deposits. You're making deposits, and eventually you're making enough deposits. I got it. I know where we can go with this. This is what happened with us. That's why attending events is important. Attending your local events are very, very important. All of those are part of the process that gives you the time to grow. So it's a repeated cycle that Tammy was talking about. That's why I want to get to this slide, because that's what it is, right? It's a repeated cycle in a profession, and it's growth.
Yeah.
And then you hit a plateau, and then you decline. So what happens is that when you decline, this is an opportunity to reevaluate is what you're doing okay? Are you doing the right thing? Can you evolve? Can you improve? You ask yourself questions. How can I improve? And you know what's really important, understanding that it's part of the process, is in a stock market, I study a lot of that right now, because you got to know what to do with this money. You can't just give it to the government and put it in the bank. They take it all, right? You got to invest. You got to know what to do with this stuff. And I'm learning how to trade equities and options and futures and all this stuff. And I'm learning and so forth. So, and what I learned is it's like the stock market. It consolidates. It reaches a certain plateau, and it goes back down to his resistance level. He goes back up again. He goes back down. It's a heartbeat that just never stops for the rest of our eternity. It's called humanity. It's a cycle. And this is how our business will go. And the fact that some people are addicted to momentum. Yeah. I'm not going to call them the names here, but we have names for them, but they jump ship all the time. Another company. They're never happy. They always jump ship, and they always look for momentum. And these momentum are 18 months, so they could be in the middle of that 18 months, at the beginning of 18 months, or you understand what I'm saying? And what happens is now the momentum goes down, whoop, they jump another company. They jump through, and that's the reason why often you get people who's been in network marketing for 20 years, but they never hit the big time. Exactly. Because they don't stick around. Mm-hmm. Folks, Max is a really good home. We got everything. This is what we decided 12 years ago. And we are committed, and we're still in the game. We're still in the game. So the fact here, folks, is the name of the game is Influencers Growth. And that's what you need in your business. And the last point, when it comes to mentorship, this is something that we take very, very seriously. The formula for future growth and long-term expansion is grow into new levels of influencers. You need to grow into these levels, right? Then build a team of people that are impenetrable. It doesn't matter what deal comes their way. My leaders around the world, it doesn't matter. This new company started, this brand new products here, and that's there. Whatever.
They're focused.
I know where I'm going. They're living the life. They're doing well. Are you following me? They are committed, right? And the fact is that you need mentorship. You need to mentor the people in your organization. And what's really important is tell them the truth. Yeah. There will be ups and there will be down. Right? It's just, again, it's part of the process. The fact is we will evolve together. Max has evolved to a great, wonderful company. So and the fact that you need to understand is that you are, there are times when your checks will not grow. This is something I really, really can relate to this one. There are times when your checks doesn't grow, but your influencers are. And then you get from diamond, double diamond, triple diamond, crown. This is what happened in our lives. It's all happened within the same year. From diamond to crown. Because our checks were stuck, but we were building our influencers. And that's how this grew. So this is literally an example of our life in our business. Now, at this point, are we the one? Okay, I'm going to pass this over to you, Ian.
Yes.
So folks, listen, thank you so much for your time. I hope you learned a few things.